Prior to our Hustler meetup, we head over to a private game with the Next Gen boys. One of our friends named Capron has a one-of-a-kind card that's way too cool not to show. We head inside to play some cards, and let me tell you, the setup is unreal. My friends that run this game call themselves the Gang. Definitely go check them out because they went all out on a custom RFID table built just for them and their live streams. Let's get into the action. First notable hand, we get it all in with an overpair on the flop versus Gordy's 2 pair. Here's the run out. Okay, I put a 9, a 3, or a 10 out there. Oh wait, I have a straight. Oh, warning.
Bro, the worst part is like no one noticed it. That's like, so much. 10, 9, or 3. And it's an 8, right? I'm like, yeah, you play poker?
We then crush the poor soul of Frankie by flopping a boat with 5-6, and he ends up rivering deuces full of 5s. Stack City, baby.
I thought he might have 5-6.
That is insane.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Jello then avenges Frankie's loss by quartering me in a 1K double board bomb pot. Easy come, easy go. We end up booking a $574 profit.
I know him.
Haircut's looking fresh.
Is that Poker Beast?
Fresh.
Is that Poker Beast?
Hey!
What's up, Kato? What's up? Alright.
After picking up Kato, we head to the Hustler for our meetup, but not before getting some tacos to fuel our session.
This is to the LA meetup. Successful meetup for Wolfgang and Next Gen. Welcome to LA, guys.
Welcome to LA.
Cheers.
Who's gonna
You
do
don't
the
even need a
face?
chaser, man.
Who's doing it?
Look at
Oh
these
my
young
God.
boys.
This
You don't even need a chaser.
What's up, you guys? We're here at the meetup game with Next Gen. It's on their shirt. You can't forget it. Here at the Hustler Casino. This is Hustler Live behind us. Maybe we'll be on that stage one day, but as for now, we're into the 2-3 game for $500. With the boys, we're going to be rotating every hour, seeing a lot of friendly faces. We're already one shot deep. Probably going to end up with like 5 or 6. Who knows? See how it goes.
I'm making the most tonight. Promise.
Let's go.
We set up the meetup game to be a 2-3 blinds, 500 cap buy-in, and we're in for the max. First hand to note, we look down at ace-10 offsuit, and I raise it up to $12. The player to my left and the big blind both put in the call, so going 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes king, 3-4 with 2 hearts. We have ace of hearts in our hand, and given that we're out of position to another opponent, and we just have ace high, I decide to check it over to the player on my left. He checks behind, and we're off to the 8 of diamonds on the turn. Doesn't change too much, so when the big blind checks it to me, given the fact we have the information that the +1 checked behind, I go for a c-bet here, a delayed c-bet of $11, actions on the player to my left. He throws in the call, but the big blind gets out of the way. One opponent down, where off to the river comes the 9 of clubs. No help to us, but when he checks behind on the flop, I doubt he's going to have too many kings in his range. If I bet on the turn and the river, it still could look strong. $60 in the pot, I fire a little over half for $35. The opponent goes into the tank before ultimately finding a call with 1 chip. That's not good news for us. I tell him he's good, but don't expect him to show pocket deuces. We literally had the 6th pair possible on the board. We muck our ace high, and he's going to take down that $130 pot. We rebuy for an additional $100 and then look down at jack 9 of diamonds and a $10 bomb pot. Flop comes king, queen, 10, bang! We flop the king high straight, and we have a gutter to the straight flush. The action on the flop checks around. I don't want to bet here and scare anybody off. The turn gives us the flush, which I don't know if we really needed. Big blind leads out for $5 into this $90 pot. The action's on me. That's not going to cut it. I raise him up to $25, which now in hindsight looks a little bit small. Probably should have raised him to around 50 or 60 bucks. Either way though, he's the only one that puts in the call, and we're off to the river. River comes a deuce of diamonds, so our hand has gotten progressively worse on the turn and the river. We're now just left with a jack high flush. To make matters worse, the opponent doesn't check it over to us. He actually goes for a $90 donk bet into us. I snap fold my cards face up, letting him know we're not having any of it here, and sure enough, he shows the ace of diamonds. Pocket aces, we had him crushed on the flop and the turn. Of course, the deuce of diamonds had to come on the river, $140 going the other opponent's way. Next hand to note, we look down at pocket 10s and raise it up to $21. The player on my left puts in the call, and our buddy Karan now 3-bets us to $80. The action folds back around to us, and for $60 more here with pocket 10s, I decide to set mine, and the middle position player gets out of the way. Heads up, out of position to a flop comes Jack 8-3 Rainbow. Nothing to do but to check it over to Karan, see if he's going to go for a c-bet, which I expect him to do with a large portion of his range. He goes for a very small bet of around 30% of the pot. We have a pair which is pretty hard to make in Hold'em, and we have some backdoor straight draws. I put in the $55 and we're off to the turn. Turn doesn't change too much, it comes to 6 of clubs. I'm going to be checking over to him again, and I expect him to slow down with any of his missed hands. If he bets again here on the turn, we're probably beaten and just going to have to muck our cards. He makes our decision easy though when he just rips it all in for around $350. Not going to be calling off the rest of my stack here with pocket tens. Second pair on the board, it's likely he had queens through aces here. Doubtful that he'd do this play with ace-king. I muck my cards and let him know if he shows his, I'll let him see mine. He shows ace-jack of diamonds, so a great flop for him there. He turns over my hand, pocket tens. Nice hand, Karan.
Marty just gave us a sick tiki cup. Thanks, Marty. I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Vlog, you know who this is. Marcelo showed up. 2-hour drive. What a commitment. Great friend.
Let's go, baby. Let's run it up this shot. Let's go, boys.
Hop in.
We have to top off an additional $200, but don't worry, we get pocket aces, and let me tell you, this is the beginning of the comeback. Straddle's on, and I raise it up to $21. The player on my left 3-bets to $70, music to our ears. The action folds back around to us, and I think I made a pretty large mistake here by not 4-betting him to somewhere around $200 to $250. I'm learning from your comments, current version me would go for the 4-bet. Instead, I put in the additional $50 and we're going heads up to the flop, which comes king high, king 7-8. We're hoping he has ace king, king queen, something of that nature, so we check it over to the pre-flop aggressor, but unfortunately he decides to check behind. Turn comes the 10 of clubs, so this board is getting pretty dynamic now. Unfortunately, the black ace in our hand is not the ace of clubs. And now I decide to butcher this hand even more by going for a lead donk bet of $50 into the other opponent. I guess my logic in the moment was I didn't want him to check back any hands that we have beat, but this $50 bet opens the action back up to him to go for a pretty chunky raise. Fortunately for us though, that's not what happens. He just sticks in $50 and we're off to the 6 of hearts on the river. $245 in the pot, and I'm not slowing down betting anytime soon. I stick in $75. Pretty scary board, so we're happy with a fold, and we're going to take down this $245 pot. $600 now in our stack. We look down at ace-king offsuit from the big blind. The straddle's on. There's one call, and the middle position now raises to $25. The player on my right in the small blind now 3-bets it to $110. He's sitting on $350 effective, and the action's back onto us. Great spot to be in. We're in the big blind and the action's on us. I decide to rip it all in for $600, just looking to pick up all the dead money and put a lot of pressure on the small blind if he wants to play for stacks. Middle position gets out of the way and the action's on the small blind. He thinks about it for a little while before folding. I tell him he can choose one of the cards and he turns over the ace of hearts. Nice to win a pot pre-flop with ace high, $140 of dead money coming our way. We pick up pocket tens from the small blind and the straddle's on. There's one caller and the middle position raises it up to $30. The action's on me in the small blind and I think a call would be pretty bad here, so I decide to 3-bet him to $95. Action folds around to the middle position player who tosses in his cards as well. We're taking down another nice pot pre-flop with our 3-bets and 4-bets. I show the table my pocket pair. $800 now in our stack and I put in the straddle and we get rewarded with pocket queens. My left decides to go blind $12, my right puts in the call, and now it's back onto us with pocket queens. I go for the 3-bet to $31, and the guy who blind raised $12 now goes all in for around $100 in his stack. The other player gets out of the way and it's back onto me. No brainer decision. I snap call him here and we're off to a run out. He turns over pocket jacks, so we're around an 80% favorite here in this hand, hoping for a clean run out. Board comes 10-9-3 with 2 hearts. Turn comes the 8 of diamonds, giving him the open-ended straight draw, but the river's a brick. It comes the king of diamonds. Pocket queens are going to hold and we're rewarded with that $215 pot. Our stack's growing nicely. We're at $950. We look down at the big blind at ace-jack offsuit. Folds around to the small blind who doesn't want to chop. He raises it up to $12 and the action's on me. No point in just flat calling here, small blind versus big blind. I 3-bet him to $33, and before I can even get my raise in the middle, he snap calls me, so we're going off to the flop. $66 in the pot. The flop comes Jack 8-8. We have top pair with an ace kicker. Life's pretty good. The small blind checks it over to us. Time to go for a c-bet. I bet really small for $18, just looking to keep all of his pocket pairs and ace highs in. The opponent thinks I made it $33, but the dealer lets him know it's just 18. He pulls back 3 yellow chips and we're off to the 6 of hearts on the turn. Shouldn't change too much. The opponent checks it over to us. I decide to check behind and we're off to the river. River gives us a boat. We have jacks full of 8s and the opponent now bets $60 into us. When he leads into us here, the only thing we could be somewhat worried about is pocket 8s, but we didn't come to the hustler to put people on quads and fold. Given the fact that we're chopping against jacks, let's put a little bit of pressure on those hands. I decide to raise him up to $150. Opponent hems and haws, which is definitely strange for me to see. If he has a jack, he should just be snapping it off here and hoping for a chop. Ultimately though, he does find a call and we turn over ace jack, expecting to chop this pot around 99% of the time. The opponent though taps the table with his fist, which usually means nice hand, and then shows us the good news, pocket 6s. So he actually had us in really bad shape with his 6s full of 8s on the turn. But then he's just got to let it go on the river when we fill up jacks full of 8s. He's a good guy though. He came out to support us in our meetup game, but we're going to take down that pretty sizable pot. Back on the felt, we look down at pocket 9s, and the middle position raises it up to $15. There's one call over to us, and I decide to put in the $15, just looking to flop a set. The action's on the small blind. He puts in the call as well, and we're going 4 ways to the flop. We end up flopping an overpair. It comes 8-3-6 with 2 clubs. Small blind checks. The initial middle position raiser decides to check as well, and the action's on the player to my right. He goes for a $35 bet and the action's on me. An overpair here on a pretty draw heavy board. I think I need to go for a raise and protect our hand. I pop him up to $95 and the action's on the small blind. We get some pretty terrible news when the small blind now goes for the 3-bet to $300. This is never a bluff here. He has to have a set or 2 pair at the minimum. When both other opponents fold to me, I'm not going to be getting in my stack here with just pocket 9s. I fold my cards. We then look down at King Jack offsuit from the big blind and the straddle's on. Small blind pops it up to $22 and I put in the call. The straddle finds a call as well, so going 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes all hearts, Jack 6-4. We do flop top pair with a king kicker. Small blind now leads out for $40 into the $66 pot. I'm not going to be raising here on this all heart board, but I'm not going to be folding my top pair as well. I stick in $40 and the straddle does as well, so we're still 3 ways to the turn. The 9 of diamonds shouldn't change too much in the actions on the small blind. He slows down now and checks, and I think we could have a mixed strategy here of betting or checking, but given that there's a player behind us in the straddle, I elect to go for the check. Straddle is either using his position to his advantage or doesn't want to see another card coming off for free. He bets $50 into this $186 pot. Even though it looks like he's milking us, the straddle and I both think this is a great price to continue. We both toss in the $50 and we're off to the river. River comes a 7 of clubs and the small blind checks it to me. I'm not going to be betting here. I check it over to the straddle. Lucky for us, the straddle checks it behind, so we get to a showdown pretty cheaply here. The small blind turns over 6-7, so river 2 pair, but we shouldn't be too mad about it because the straddle had it on the turn with Jack 9. Very, very interesting hand there. Let me know down in the comments how you would have played this, and we're on to the last but best hand of the night. 850 in our stack. Buckle your seatbelts. We look down at Jack 10 of spades from the big blind. The button raises it up to $16 and the small blind puts in the call. Action's on me. I put in the call as well, and that brings in the under the gun limper. We're going 4 ways to the flop here with $64 in the pot. Flop comes ace of clubs, king of spades, 10 of hearts. We have bottom pair with a backdoor flush draw and a backdoor Broadway draw. Small blind checks, I check. The under the gun position checks over to the button and he decides to check behind. The 9 of spades on the turn is definitely an action card for us. We pick up the spade flush draw, we have a gutter to the straight flush, and we still have our bottom pair. Small blind leads out for $20 and the action's on me. Given the fact that we just have bottom pair with some hope on the river, I stick in $20 and the under the gun gets out of the way. Button's not done with the hand just yet. He sticks in the call and we're off to the river. The river is what dreams are made of. It's the miracle queen of spades. Bang! We river the straight flush. It's not often you run into a great hand like this. You gotta cherish these moments. Small blind checks it over to me. Pot's not too big, only $120 in there, but I bet $75, just looking to target 2 pairs or lower flushes. Button thinks about it for a while, so we're hoping for a call, but then he reaches up onto the top of his stack and exceeds our expectations by re-raising us to $200. Is this reality right now? We have a straight flush and the opponent on the button just repopped us to $200. This is never a bluff from him, so the action's back onto us. Obviously we're going to go for the 4-bet here. It's just a matter of sizing. How much do we bet? If you take a peek over at his stack, it looks like he has around 400 to 500 behind. Given the fact that he 3-bet us on the river and nobody at these stakes is 3-bet bluffing on the river at a meetup game like this, it's likely that he has a flush. I'm hoping he has the ace high flush, so I rip it all in. Going for max value, and the opponent hems and haws and goes into the tank for what feels like 5 minutes, and then Rosie gives us some awesome play-by-play commentary.
I don't think he's moved or blinked in the past 5 minutes. Wolfgang is in pounce mode.
If he wins this, he's gonna buy us a round of shots tonight.
What if he loses it? What's he gonna do?
If he loses it, I'm buying a round of shots.
Don't worry about that, Rosie. The opponent mucks his cards. We're winning this pot. No losing over here. Round of shots on me, baby. Although I am stoked to take down that pot with our king high straight flush. It's unfortunate that the opponent shows 4 deuce of spades. He had a flush and folded it. A pretty smart fold on his part. I think in his position, I would probably find a fold as well when I go for the 4-bet all in. We show the table our straight flush and everybody goes crazy.
Boys, Marcelo was right behind us. He saw that whole hand.
Witnessed a straight flush from my boy.
Rosie's over there. He's sweating it. Wow. Drop a like on this video right now. Yo, we're up here with the legend Israeli Ron. Can we see that tattoo, Ron? Can we show the people what they want to see? That's sick, man. How'd you do on live, Hustler Live? There you go. Good shit, man. Thank you. Meetup game complete. Next Gen boys, we got Capron up here. We got Poker Beast. Got into that game for 800. Last hand there, we had the straight flush. We didn't get the extra 500 of value, but we got out for a $338 profit. Capron's gonna have to watch the vlog to see that one.
He's buying drinks at the club tonight.
Sal Ranch.
Subscribe. Thank you, Hustler.
Do it.
Peace.
Birthday to you. Cha cha cha. Happy birthday.
Okay, no.
Get out of here. What's up?
Okay. Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.